Die the devil. Lesson 3, we discover that Judas was a common thief. So John chapter 13. I believe it's John 13. Maybe it's 12. Let me look here. No, come to chapter 12. John chapter 12. So let me show you this little scene here. This gives you a little bit of insight into Judas. So there's a dinner, verse 2. John 12:2. Here, a dinner was given in Jesus' honor. Martha served, while Lazarus was among those reclining at the table with him. Then Mary took about a pint of pure nard, an expensive perfume. She poured it on Jesus' feet, wiped his feet with her hair, and the house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. But one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, who was later... Oh, hey, what did I tell you every time his name is mentioned? That God always points out that he was a traitor? I mean, he's already done that, and now he's pointing it out again. Every time his name is mentioned, the Holy Spirit says, hey, make sure you point out he's a traitor. Okay, he would betray him, objected. Why wasn't this perfume sold and the money given to the poor? It was worth a year's wages. Now notice, he did not say this because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief. As keeper of the money bag, as the treasurer, he used to help himself to what was put into it. Leave her alone, Jesus replied. So Judas is carrying on about, you look like, oh, he's a very good treasurer, a good church member. He's like, why are we wasting this money? It could be put in the treasury for good use to help the poor. But you see, he wasn't interested in the poor at all. He was only interested in himself. So let me share something with you. Judas, he's with the other apostles. I want you to picture that Judas starts carrying on about the waste, because he really wanted the money for himself, okay? So he goes over to Peter. Peter, what a waste of money. It should have been sold to give to the poor. Andrew, what a waste of money. John, what a waste of money. To the other Judas, what a waste of money. So much that here's what the account says in Mark. A woman came with an alabaster jar of very expensive perfume made of pure nard. She broke the jar, poured the perfume on his head. Some of those present were saying indignantly, the other apostles, were saying indignantly, however you say that, to one another, why this waste of perfume? It could have been sold for more than a year's wages and the money given to the poor. And they rebuked her harshly, and Jesus once again says, be quiet. Stop carrying on. But do you understand that it started, the root of all the apostles carrying on started with Judas? The apostles picked up the call, and Judas has to be laughing to himself because Judas all along is like, I want the money for myself. So you see, the lesson we come to is you can never know for sure the motives of others, but only your own motives with the help of the Holy Spirit. So I cannot tell you how many Christians, someone in the church will complain, you know what, I don't like what this ministry is, and I don't think we should be doing this ministry, but you don't realize that the motive behind why that Christian doesn't like that ministry is because they actually don't like the person that's leading that ministry. They're mad at that person, and they want to stab them in the back, but they're complaining about the ministry. And then that Christian goes to all of you and goes, I don't like that ministry. And you start going, yeah, we don't like that ministry. We don't like that ministry. Not realizing that the original person who started this whole thing, that wasn't the real motive. They did that. They actually are trying to stab that person. If you knew the real motive, you wouldn't have joined in with the gang carrying on. I cannot tell you how much this happens in the church. So be very careful. 1 Corinthians 4:5, therefore judge nothing before the appointed time. Wait until the Lord comes. He'll bring to light what is hidden in darkness and will expose the motives of the hearts. So I think it's very difficult to know the motives of other believers. Now, I do think over time, husbands and wives can discern each other's motives, okay? Just through the years, eventually husbands and wives figure out the motives, the true motives of their spouse. I think over time, if you hang out with friends over years and you associate a lot, I think over time you can figure out the motives, the true motives of your friends. However, I want you to understand, the apostles spent 3.5 years together. Until the very end, they were unable to discern the true motive of Judas and his whole life. They thought this guy was a great Christian and served the Lord with the finances and had no idea that his true motive was pure selfishness for himself.